Hey, this is Mr. Spencer. Good to see you guys. I'm going to go over the reading guide for chapters 51 up through 60. All right, it's the final reading guide. Remember, at the very end of the reading guide, you have options for the final project. So you can check those out there when you finish the book, but you got to finish the book first before you do that final project. All right, so the reading guide. We start with a little pattern review, some analysis. I'm kind of thinking of the holy number of three, the legend of Zelda, the Triforce, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit in Judeo-Christian religions. It's a commonly held belief that the number three is a magical number in many cultures and religions. In our book, the number three comes up many times. Try to think, can you note three different examples of the power of three being important in the events through the end of the book? The artifacts, the narrators. I noted there's three different narrators. You got Zeli, you got Amari, you got Zane. You could write that down. We've also got three magical artifacts required to do the ritual to bring the magic back: the bone dagger, the sunstone, and the scroll. The other one, by the end of the book, somebody betrays Zeli 3 times. All right, I put some of the notes here, but oh my gosh, I don't want to spoil it because you got to read it. But by the end of the book, there's some of the ideas I thought. Somebody who betrays Zeli 3 times. Now, who's Kwame? Character review. He's the burner magi. Fix that. A diviner. He doesn't trust Zane and Amari after capturing them in the forest and questioning them. All right, that was at the end of the chapter 50 from the last reading guide, chapter 34 to 50. So check that from chapter 50. Kwame, the new character, don't forget him. All right, chapter 51, you got the summary notes here. And then it says, as they enter the encampment, number 1, Zeli's surprised to find a thriving hidden community of diviners. She's also surprised that Anan tried to protect her in chapter 50. He was going to use her magic to save her. And it seems that she's surprised that Anan tried to protect her. How does Anan explain this? On page 339, he tried to save her because he explains that she was in danger while he wasn't. He saved her because he simply could. And I think maybe because he finally sympathizes with others. All right, that's what the book says. But I kind of added some interpretation because I think finally Anan's starting to sympathize with others. Does he? Number 2, to what order or command does Amari give to Zu? Heal Zane. Okay. Number 3, Mama helped keep the patient from taking their last breath. Another way to look at it is, how did she help her? It's in Zeli's memory. How did Mama help the village healer? Okay, back 11 years ago before her mom was killed, when the village healer was helping the sick and the dying, like Mother Teresa. Zeli's mother would make sure the patient didn't take his or her last breath while the healer would use her magic. Number 4, Zeli's in awe of the way that Zu can control her magic. Why is she so skilled with it? She was the first diviner to touch the scroll, apparently. And then number 5, what is Ajoyo? Ajoyo is a yearly festival in which the people celebrate Sky Mother and the birth of the gods. Chapter 52, number 6, what gift does Anan present to Amari? He gives her back her headdress, though it's stained with Binta's blood. How does Amari threaten her brother? Number 7, she tells him that he best be telling the truth about his desire to help them, because if she even suspects any treachery on his part, she will be the one he has to face, and she will use her blade against him. Okay, chapter 53, number 8. Why does Zane tell Zeli to be more careful when she leaves the tent with the group? He tells her to be more careful because he doesn't want her traveling off by herself with Anan. He does not trust the prince. Number 9, how is a meeting Rowan, this new character, a new experience for Zeli? She's never met a foreigner, someone who's not from Arisha before. What skill does Rowan reveal that he possesses? He is a pickpocket, basically a thief, and he took Zeli's staff without her knowing it. Luckily, Anan caught him doing it. Chapter 54, extra credit. What vow or promise does Anan make to Zeli about Ilurin? When all this is over, the first thing he will do is rebuild Ilurin. Chapter 55, number 12. Zeli shares with Anan why her brothers so upset with their newfound connection. What does Zane think? Zane thinks that when this is all over, someone will be dead, and he is afraid it will be Zeli. Number 13. How are Zane's feelings for Amari different from Zeli's for Anan? According to him on page 369, Zane can only see Anan as a killer. Amari's not a killer. She did not burn their village to the ground. So that's how it's different, according to Zane. Chapter 56. Zali is now certain that it is not the right time to give all the diviners their power. What does she think on page 372 about controlling their power? She says in the book, she realizes that she cannot control her own magic, and she pictures Kwame and his burner powers being out of control too. Number 15, Amari wants to talk to Zili about what's happening with Anan. What two possible connections does Amari have for Anan's change of heart? He's either falling in love with Zili, or he is preparing to betray them. Chapter 57. Why does Amari say that she feels like she could live an eternity like this at the end of chapter 57? What happened? She dances with Zane, and she's not clumsy anymore. She's caught up in his smile and his kind eyes. She feels like she could live forever like this with him. I encourage you to check out page 380, 81, and 382, because this is a beautifully written scene. Okay, summary notes for chapter 58 on the reading guide. Number 18, chapter 59. When Zili and Anan talk about restoring the magic, Zili realizes that she has come to agree with Anan in one way. How do they now think alike about the consequences of trying to restore magic for Orisha? Well, she's not sure that the restoration of magic will bring peace. She knows, if nothing else, that the nobility will fight against it. Chapter 60, Amari. Amari and Zane are having a wonderful time dancing until what interrupts them? Well, Zane looks over to see Anan and Zili kissing. He yells out. He still doesn't trust Anan, and if Zili wants to embrace him, even though he's a murderer, Zane doesn't want to be around to watch the aftermath. Then a horn announces the arrival of the king's guards. You have a letter writing exercise for number 20 through 25, trying to give you 5 more points if you can write at least 5 sentences. Okay, so what's it say? Pretend you are a soldier of Orisha, and you know you're going to attack a camp of diviners, just like it says at the end of chapter 60. You're writing a letter to your family. You're only able to send one letter because the king is pretty strict. So what do you say to your family? Your letter should include several facts from the story, your opinion of the diviners, and demonstrate an internal conflict, a problem inside one's mind, and an external conflict, a problem caused by the outside world. Your letter should be 5 sentences and start with a greeting. That's why I have it worth those 5 points. So here's my example that I wrote here. Dear Mama, King Saren is convinced that the fugitives with the Magi Scroll are in this little jungle camp in the middle of nowhere. So now we are expected to rush in and evade. I did get the extra socks you sent me. Thank you. They are very soft. But I feel conflicted internally. What's up with the king lately? He seems reckless, and I don't know if I can trust him. Remember when Uncle Toby would also boss you around, but inside you felt like something else was bothering him, and it wasn't you? Something's bothering Saren deep down, and I think it's making him act crazy with all of us guards. Not to mention, the climate change has been affecting the royal palace with the monsoons and hurricanes lately. He keeps blaming some lady named Oya. These are external conflicts, I'm imagining. Oya, but I know that's not the queen's name, nor is it the commander he was caught kissing with. Her name was Kaya. Haven't seen her around lately. Go back and check chapter 3 if you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, tell Jimmy and little Joloff that I love them, and I will try to bring them home some Bone Dagger sour candies. Love ya. Praise Saren. Sincerely, Finn. P.S. Skies, I almost forgot. Please send me extra underwear. All right, chapter 61 and onward. Try to answer the questions the best you can using the page numbers from your book. All right. At the end of next week, I'll check some of the answers with you, but you're still going to have to do some of them on your own. Okay, there's a few extra credit questions, and this takes us all the way to the end of the book. There are 85 chapters, and after you finish the book, we will, by the end of November, be looking at those final project options. Make a Google Slides, write your own narrative story, or make comic book panels, or create some artwork, infographic about African mythology facts, or write the next chapter of the novel. Okay, creative writing options. This is Mr. Spencer, signing off.